From Washington, this is VOA News. UN chemical weapons team meets Syrian victims. Wildfire threatens a major U.S. national park. I'm Ray Kouguell reporting from Washington. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says it is undeniable that chemical weapons recently were used in Syria. Speaking at the State Department Monday, Secretary Kerry said President Obama believes there must be accountability for those who would use what he called such heinous weapons.
What we saw in Syria last week should shock the conscience of the world. It defies any code of morality. Let me be clear. The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders by chemical weapons is a moral obscenity.
Secretary Kerry says Syria's decision to allow inspections is too late to be credible, accusing Syria of trying to destroy evidence by bombing the area since last week's attack. A team of UN weapons inspectors did meet with victims of the alleged chemical weapons attack in a Damascus rebel-held suburb on Monday. The team came under fire from snipers but continued its mission. Edward Uranian reports.
Syrian opposition activists said the UN team visited a makeshift hospital in Madamia to speak with survivors of the attacks and take samples. Earlier in the day, the lead vehicle of the UN convoy came under sniper fire outside the town. A rebel commander in Damascus rebel-held suburbs announced earlier that his group was calling a truce and would hold fire when weapons inspectors arrived. A Syrian government official said government forces would hold fire as well. Both sides denied targeting the UN inspectors. Edward Uranian for VOA News, Cairo.
A United Nations spokesman says the inspectors were satisfied with their meetings with doctors and victims and will visit another attack site Tuesday. A UN spokesman says the world body plans to ask the United States about a report the National Security Agency bugged its New York headquarters. Based on what it said were documents obtained from fugitive former U.S. intelligence contractor Edward Snowden, a German news magazine, Der Spiegel, reported the United States succeeded in gaining access to UN communications systems last year. Chinese prosecutors have called for a severe punishment against former top Communist Party chief Bo Xilai, whose corruption trial came to an end Monday after 5 days. Officials at the Intermediate People's Court in the eastern city of Jinan say a verdict will be pronounced at a date yet to be decided. Bo is accused of taking bribes from a wealthy businessman, along with embezzlement and abuse of power. Afghan President Hamid Karzai held talks with Pakistan's new Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in Islamabad Monday, urging him to help further a troubled political reconciliation process in Afghanistan. Ayaz Gul has details.
President Karzai and Prime Minister Sharif held wide-ranging discussions on how to deepen bilateral relations in areas such as trade, economy, energy, and communications. President Karzai later told reporters together with Mr. Sharif that he also emphasized the need for enhancing joint efforts to counter extremism and promote peace and stability on both sides of their shared border.
We discussed in this regard the issue of joint fight against extremism and reconciliation and peace building in Afghanistan.
Prime Minister Sharif, for his part, reaffirmed Pakistan's strong and sincere support for the Afghan peace and reconciliation process. Ayaz Gul for VOA News, Islamabad.
A massive wildfire in the western U.S. state of California is only about 15% contained. It continues to rage out of control and threatens one of the country's best-known national parks. The blaze has consumed more than 60,000 hectares, engulfing parts of Yosemite National Park in the central part of California. The 2014 edition of the Farmer's Almanac says the upcoming winter in most of the USA is going to be a bitterly cold one. The 197-year-old publication predicts a colder than usual winter for the eastern two-thirds of the country and heavy snowfall in the Midwest, Great Lakes, and New England. Its secret formula for weather predictions based on planetary positions, sunspots, and lunar cycles remains largely unchanged. Scientists are not impressed with the formula, but the Almanac says its readers use the forecast to plan weddings and plant gardens because it says its predictions are about 80% right. I'm Ray Kouguell, VOA News. More at voanews.com.